Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all having a great Monday, a good start to the week, a week that normally starts at home these days. But nevertheless, it's a start of the week, and we are back with our new webinar. The webinar today is really focused on Ramadan. Our focus of this webinar was to understand how does the consumer change their behavior, their consumption, and what does COVID-19, what kind of impact does COVID-19 have on a big celebration like Ramadan? Especially here where families get together, where a lot of retail and food for this one, I'm sure you've also seen some of the other surveys that we are running. We are doing a consumer survey on sentiment on Corona. We're doing a business survey on the sentiment of Corona, all with our partner. And our focus was to understand how does this deal consumer deal with social distancing, with lockdown and the restrictions. And being a month of caring and sharing, will there be a difference in the consumer expenditure, which was really a big focus area for us. We wanted to understand if people are going to treat Ramadan any differently. Are they going to spend the same kind of money, or are they going to save a lot more money? Are they getting more worried or less worried? And how does it impact the lockdown, the partial lockdown or a full lockdown in different countries? How does that impact their consumption of media habits? So this is what we will share. We will share some key insights and highlights of the survey. We hope you will find all of this very useful. There will definitely be some key learnings here, which we believe you can take into your business and to understand how the next 36 odd days you can work and plan your business. At MMA, our focus is really to work for the chief marketeers. I'm going to walk you through some of our pillars of the work that we do. If you're not engaged with MMA, we highly encourage you to sign up on mmaglobal.com for our newsletters, for different programs, different research activities that we do, because our purpose is really to enable the entire advertising and marketing through innovation for the marketeers today and in the future. We truly believe that the future is going to be shaped by mobile when it comes to advertising and marketing. And if there's a big learning out of Corona, we already seen that all the budgets, all the consumption is actually going digital. And in Asia, especially digital is equal to mobile. And therefore, our efforts are really to make that future come alive. We work on measurement and business impact to help drive effectiveness of the business. We also work on organization dynamics to make sure that we are able to predict and advise our esteemed members of how they should plan for the future with regard to their organization structures. And also, we would like to take this opportunity to also do a lot of the innovation work around advertising and marketing per se when it comes to use cases of case studies. And we have a global program called Smarties. And last but not the least, we do advocacy like any other organization. So highly encourage all of you to please engage with us. If there are any questions that you have, do send them to us and we will like to have you involved. With regard to the webinar today, you can actually ask your questions. So on the tool, control panel tool set, you have a section called questions. You can actually send in your questions and we will try and answer most of them while the conversation is on. And then towards the end, the last 15 minutes, we'll try and take some of these questions. I will try and moderate the session in a manner that we club some of these questions into themes so that our speaker can address that. And if you are interested, you can use MMA Web, hashtag MMA Web to talk about this question. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our presenter. Our presenter is Rajiv Lamba, founder and CEO of Neurosensum and SurveySensum. As I've already introduced you to him, SurveySensum is the platform that we are using to do all these surveys. And I am your moderator, Rohit Dadwal. I look after the operations of Mobile Marketing Association in Asia Pacific. And by way of this presentation or this webinar, we would like to make sure that we are able to address all the queries that you have with regard to and its insights. So I will now hand it over to Rajiv to take you through the findings of the webinar. Over to you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Rohit. And thanks for everyone who is attending the webinar. So as Rohit mentioned, the entire agenda of the webinar today is to understand how this Ramadan will be in Indonesia. Is it going to be same? Is it going to be different? What are the changes that consumers will do during this Ramadan? So let's directly go to the findings. As you can see, the agenda is to understand consumer sentiments. We have been tracking consumer sentiment in Indonesia from the last 1 month, and you will be seeing some tracking data. Are consumers more worried? Are they more positive? Are they more cautious? Then we look at what is the impact on Ramadan rituals and how consumers are going to be behaving during this Ramadan from a consumption perspective. Are they going to increase their spends? Are they going to decrease their spends? How the media habits will change, how some of the brands are responding, and what are the opportunities ahead for the marketers. So as you can see my slide, these are 3 waves that we have done. This is particularly Indonesia data of the top 10 cities. You can see there is a wave by wave tracking of the data. So we did the first wave fieldwork on 20th March. Second wave was done 30th March, and the third wave is done around 18th April. So you will be able to see, for some of the data points, you will be able to see the comparison between what has happened from 20th March till 18th April in the last 1 month in Indonesia from a consumption perspective and sentiment perspective. And on top of this, we have used some of the data of some other companies. So I want to also thank them at the same time. So we have used the data sources from Google Trends, some data from Facebook, some data from Sensum, which is a data monetization as well as the marketing company. So let's deep dive into the first topic, which is consumer sentiment. So as you can see from the 3 waves data from 20th March till 20th April, you can see that consumers are getting increasingly being more worried. As you can see that I'm somewhat worried or I'm very worried. The data over time has gone up. In the last 2 waves, it has been relatively stable. But if you compare from 20th March, consumers are increasingly a bit more worried, of course, because of the impact of coronavirus. Going to the next slide. So then we also ask consumers how many months it will take for things to become normal. As you can see, overall, consumers who are very, very optimistic a month back when I presented this data, they mentioned that it will take 2 months for situation to become normal, but now they're estimating situation to become normal in 3.2 months, which goes back to the entire worrisome as well as a bit more cautious consumer. They feel that things will only become normal in 3 months, which means if this is done in April, possibly by end of July, the things will go back to normal. That's what consumers they believe. And we did ask some of the questions, whether COVID will have an impact to the economy, impact to financial security, impact on their own daily income, as well as are they increasing their spends or they're reducing their spends. So as you can see over time across these 3 waves, there's a bit more, slight more pessimism. People are a bit more worried about financial security. They are also worried about their own job or income. And they are claiming that they're reducing their spends, which of course is not a good news for the entire economy, but consumers are becoming more conscious. And when we look at the data of wave 3, which was happened on 20th April, when we compare this data between upper SES and lower SES, so upper and middle SES, upper SES is more about upper class of the society, middle SES is more about BC class of the society. As you can see, the caution is a bit more among middle class or middle SES of the society, which is understandable. They are relatively more worried or more cautious in comparison to the upper SES. This is one very interesting question that we asked in this wave. Are consumers preferring an unbranded product over a branded product, or are they paying more attention to the price vis-a-vis before? 78% of the consumers have claimed that they're paying more attention to the price than before, and 32% of them they claim that they will prefer an unbranded product over a branded product, which is of course not a very good news from the entire premiumization perspective. So let's see, is it dominated by upper class or a middle class of the society? Both of them have started paying more attention. Some of you or some of us in the group might be belonging to relatively upper class of the SES, but who doesn't love discount? So everybody loves discounts. Everybody is paying more attention to the prices. In fact, upper SES is also paying more attention. Of course, middle SES in comparison to upper SES is more cautious. But having said that, even 71% of the upper SES of the society is saying that they are paying more attention to the price. We also ask consumers, are they aware of social distancing? And 53% of them, they said that they have heard and they know the detail. 44% of them, they said that they have heard, but they don't know the detail. But overall, social distancing as a concept has become very popular. People are aware of the concept of social distancing. And then we also ask consumers which regulations are effective according to the consumers in controlling the entire COVID situation during Ramadan. So consumers, they believe limiting the activities in the public places and remote working is effective. But at the same time, when it comes to restrictions of the religious gathering, they feel that it should not be pushed to that extent. Consumers, they feel relative limitation of the activities at the social places or the public places is good enough and is effective enough to control the entire COVID spread. So as you can see, the entire sentiments tend to be a bit cautious. Consumers are still trying to save more. They are a bit cautious about their own financial securities as well as income as well as job. So I think let's just make it a bit more interactive. So we just thought about asking you this particular poll. If Rohit, if you can just help in possibly putting this poll across. Let's see what the audiences are saying, telling us. So this particular question is that in how many months you feel that COVID situation will normalize. 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and more. So in how many months you feel that the COVID impact will normalize?
So we will give a minute for people to vote on this. And once that is done, we will share the insights of the responses that you've given and what our survey has shared. We're also getting a fair amount of questions. Just to answer one of the questions, Rajiv is asked by Tetaz Nazmeen, was it online survey? How did you approach them if it was online?
Yeah, so this was an online survey. We have an online panel where we have sent the service to the online panel to these respondents. So this has completely been done online. Offline surveys as of now is not possible in Indonesia.
Great.
So I
I'm
hope
going
that
to close last 5 seconds of the poll, and then I'm going to close the poll and share the results. There you go, Rajiv. Those are the results. So people are saying 5 months and more. 60% of the people and 4 months and more. So it seems to be a long drawn impact on the society. Back to you, Rajiv.
Yeah, thanks, Rohit. So I think all of us kind of agree that it's going to take some time for situation to normalize. Consumers might be relatively more optimistic, but I think we as industry possibly believe this situation might extend till September or October. Let's get to the next section, which is so that was more about the consumer sentiment overall, but let's see what is the impact on Ramadan rituals. Then we ask consumers that what are the activities that they feel will be really impacted, or they will be impacted during this Ramadan because of COVID. Now there are a lot of options that we have asked to consumers, so I'll just take a bit of time to explain this slide. So majority of the consumers are mentioning that the prayer at mosque is one of the activities that will be severely impacted. And I think the entire social interaction and social gathering will be missed big time. Breakfast with friends or late afternoon walk, social gatherings will be very much missed by the consumers this time. So this Ramadan possibly will be very different to many other Ramadans. I think this is possibly one of the I think very rare Ramadans where a lot of social interaction will be missed, which is a big part of Ramadan itself. So I think what we believe is going to happen, I think which is what is already happening. We also did some qualitative research around this, and I think a lot of this Ramadan activities that people are doing, a lot of that will be online. It will be a lot digital, like buka puasa with friends, interacting with friends, which might not be able to be there face to face, possibly might happen very much digitally. And I think digital is one of the media which is really going to emerge even during Ramadan. Now, this is a very interesting question that we ask consumers, which is, of course, we ask them to recall their last Ramadan, which was almost a year back. So we ask consumers, when it comes to food and beverage consumption during Sahur or Buka Puasa, how is it going to be different to last Ramadan? Again, the context is last Ramadan, which they have to kind of recall. So as you can see, what people are claiming, they feel that in this Ramadan, they will be consuming more healthy beverages, more vitamins, more immunity boosters, more natural products, fruits, vegetables. And of course, because a lot of people might not be going out in the evenings, so they feel that their fried food consumption will go down, their sugary drinks consumption will go down, and then more natural and healthy beverages will go up. As well as traditional Indonesian food, of course, people they still cook at home is definitely going to go up. Consumer staple consumption at home will go up. So consumer staples and consumer good companies overall definitely will benefit with consumer being more at home and consuming more at home. But the entire theme seems to be very much about health. And we ask consumers, what are the traditions that will be really impacted or will decline compared to last Ramadan? As you can see, break fasting, which I talked about, sahur, or hanging around with friends is really going to go down. Spending time preparing possibly special food for Ramadan, because if you're not able to invite your friends and extended family at home, possibly a lot of times the special food preparation might go down. So I think all of this social distancing will definitely have a big impact on Ramadan. And this Ramadan, I believe, will not be as possible to a lot of consumers. It will be very, very different to last Ramadan or Ramadan over the years. And we ask one very interesting question when we ask consumers, do they believe fasting has anything to do with impact of COVID? So, if you fast, can you get more sick, or can you get COVID-19 because you're fasting? So 40% of the people, 41% of the people, they feel that fasting has no relationship with COVID. But 40% people, interestingly, they feel that fasting will increase the immunity, which is very interesting. That's what consumers believe, that fasting will boost their immunity to resist or to fight against COVID in case anybody catches COVID. So there goes our second poll question. I think the question from us to everybody in the audience or everybody in this group: do you believe that fasting will enhance, or fasting enhances the immune system? I know it's a very tricky question, but I just want to hear your belief on this.
So please have your answers inside the quick poll. Uh, some of the people actually answered the question in the chat panel, so I would request you to just click on inside the quick poll. Again, we will have about 50 seconds more for this, and in the meantime, I will ask another question. So Valiska has asked a question: is it the same 500 respondents across the three surveys, Rajiv? Yes or no?
No, it's not same 500. It's different people.
They are different people, Valiska. And this other question that I have is from Maria. What should I do if the presentation is slower? So we trust that you can actually get a copy of this presentation later on after the webinar. We will send you a survey form and you can download a copy of that. So with that, we've lapsed the 60 seconds for the poll, and I'm going to close the poll and share the results with you.
Yeah, Rohit, I can't see can you please say it?
Yeah, so do you believe fasting enhances the immune system? Poll result says 55% says yes and 45 says no. So it's pretty much divided. It is a good detox, I believe, but does it help build immunity? I don't think so. It's 50-50 in the results. So back to you.
Interesting. So thanks, Rohit. So it's almost like a divided house there. I personally don't think that it enhances immune system, but of course people can have their own point of view. So let's go through the third section, which is how the entire shopping basket will get impacted. I think this possibly, I believe, is a very interesting section to look at. Are consumers going to reduce their overall spends? We understood that they're going to consume more healthier beverages. They will not be able to go out and enjoy as much with friends as they did before. But will overall shopping basket will go down? Are they going to spend less money? So overall, 67% consumers, they claim that their spends will be lesser in comparison to last Ramadan. 20% consumers, they said that it will be same. 13% said that it will be higher. So majority of the consumers, they feel that is going to be lesser to what they did last Ramadan. And when we look at the data between upper and middle SES, of course, upper class is around 59%. They feel it will be lesser. Among middle class consumers, the percentages of people who will reduce their spend is relatively higher. But overall, I know that this number is a bit shocking. But overall, people, they believe that their spends are going to go down versus last Ramadan. And then we also ask consumers how much they spend, if the spends will go down. Among those 67% people who said that they will reduce their spend, we ask them how much their spend will go down. And we almost give them a range to choose from. So on the average budget reduction will be 43% among those who are reducing the spend. So they will reduce their spend by 43% versus last Ramadan. But because there are also some people who said that they will increase, so overall impact might not be 43%, because if you take into account people who are saying that they will increase and look at the overall budget that is going to go down, the overall impact will be 32%, because there are some people who are still claiming that they will increase. So if last Ramadan people spent $100 as an index, this Ramadan they will spend approximately 32% less. So there's a typo there, that should be 68. Among upper class of the society, the spend will be down by 23%. Middle class of the society, the spend will be down 35%. So of course, the middle class of the society will relatively cut down more on their budgets in comparison to upper class. Between Jabal Tabak and outside, people in Jabal Tabak, they're shrinking their budgets relatively more, which I think possibly because, I think with the entire situation, the big cities normally get impacted the most with the entire unemployment and so on and so forth. Then we ask consumers, this is another very interesting question and some very interesting insights. We ask consumers, are these categories, which categories they will surely buy this year? And the categories that they were planning to buy this year, but they will not buy anymore. So for Islamic goods, 46% people, they say that they will surely buy this year. 21% people, they say that they were planning to buy earlier, but they don't want to buy anymore. So Islamic good as a category still will be relatively fine. Clothing and fashion still will be relatively fine. Shoes is almost equal, but other categories which are more discretionary, like motorbike, car, electronic gadgets, jewelries, smartwatches, durables, smartphones, people were planning to buy earlier, but because of this entire COVID situation, there's a bit of a financial insecurity. At the same time, because of social distancing, you're not able to meet people, and sometimes I think people, they wear things because they want to meet people, and in some ways it's also about a sign of showing off to the world. Because of that entire social distancing and the impact of the economy, mix of both, a lot of these discretionary items are going to be postponed till the time the situation becomes normal. So we'll be sharing this data with you in the presentation so that you can look at the data in detail. And when we ask consumers what will decline in comparison to last Ramadan, of course, we all know that leisure traveling will go down, fitness as equipments are going to go down. This is a time where people normally get THR, they get 1 month salary extra, and they spend that salary a lot in multiple, buying multiple categories. Gifting will go down. Even THR is going to go down. So these are the categories which are going to go down. Yeah.
Sorry, Rajiv, interrupting you because there's a series of questions which a lot of people are asking. Basically, it's very topical on your couple slides earlier. So we have 6-7 questions. What is Islamic goods? Can you please help clarify this, because I think it is very topical and we just spoke about it. And then we have 6-7 people asking the same thing.
Sure. So Rohit, is there any other question which is similar to this that I can club together?
No. Right now it's that one only.
Sure. So Islamic good are the categories that people normally, buy. For example, the clothes that people they buy, and other things which are there that people they normally buy during the time of the prayers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question, Rohit?
You can. The other question, the one more question is, what is the sect ABCD split of the 5,000 respondents? Do we have that?
Yes, we do have that. I can share that in the presentation, but it's a natural fallout of the entire proportion. We haven't gone to SESD. It's mainly SES ABC. I think SES A was around 10 to 15% of the society. So it's a natural fallout of the population, Rohit.
Okay, thank you. You can carry on with your presentation, and we'll get to questions if there are any.
Sure. So sorry, I was on this slide that what will decline in comparison to last Ramadan. So here we looked at some of the very interesting trends between upper and middle SES. Now, of course, in upper SES, they are still going to spend a bit more, which means they will still be giving THR to the domestic helpers and drivers. But the impact on middle SES is far bigger in comparison to impact on the upper class of the society. But overall, these entire discretionary items are going to go down in comparison to last Ramadan. What categories will increase? Is everything going to go down? I think it seems that everything is going to go down if you look at the presentation till now, apart from the consumer staples. But not everything is going to go down. Categories which are relatively more digital are going up in comparison to last Ramadan. So people, they claim that they're going to spend more money on mobile data because everybody is digitally connected. Internet subscriptions are going to go up because people are at home. They're watching OTT channels. They're watching a lot of YouTube videos. They're on Instagram, Facebook. E-learning subscription, people are going to spend more money. Moving streaming apps as well as online games. So these are the categories which are relatively going to go up in comparison to last Ramadan. So will online shopping increase during this Ramadan? Majority of the people, they believe or they say that they will shop more online during this Ramadan because of the entire, worries about going out, social distancing. So people, they're claiming that they will spend more during this Ramadan. They will do more online shopping in comparison to last Ramadan, much more driven by upper class of the society as well as Jebotabek. And you can also see from the Google Trend data, the entire home delivery as a search has gone up. So my belief is that companies like Happy Fresh, companies like Box possibly would have been riding on this wave. And the overall online shopping will go up during Ramadan, be it grocery as well as non-grocery. And what will people purchase more on online in comparison to last Ramadan, or because it's driven by COVID situation? The entire categories of vitamins, masks, and as you can see, there are multiple items which were traditionally not been purchased online, especially grocery items or vegetables. So that entire consumption has gone up online in comparison to last Ramadan, or even in comparison to the previous months. So we do see a lot of online consumption going up. Traditionally in Indonesia, online was very much about fashion or electronics, but we do see a lot of FMCG categories, a lot of grocery items, consumer staples, which have really gone up with the online purchases. So let's go to our third question. So consumers, they claim that they will reduce their shopping basket by 32% in comparison to last Ramadan. Do you agree? Do you think consumers will reduce that much? Do you think that they will reduce their shopping spends by 32% in comparison to last Ramadan, or possibly more?
Please use the control panel poll section to have your say. Please do cast your vote. We have 60 seconds for that. In the meantime, just coming off the earlier session, there are a couple of questions, and let me try and address some of them. From Diana is asking, do you have any data on purchasing online e-commerce? I think we just addressed that. Do you want to add to that, Rajiv?
I think we just mentioned that in the presentation, which is the entire e-commerce online items. I think we already shared that in the previous slide, which is vitamins, masks, groceries, consumer staples, and some of the fashion elements are the top categories that people are buying online.
Okay, sounds good. So another 5 seconds before I close the poll. Please do cast your results, and I will close it now and share the results on the screen. Yes is 85% and no is 15%. So I believe this is a consumer sentiment, which is growing based on what we saw last time, and now it is just growing, and people are looking at more and more savings right now. So back to you, Rajiv.
Yeah, thanks. So I think, yeah, I mean, this possibly, I think a lot of you agree that consumers are going to reduce their spends this Ramadan, especially the categories which are discretionary items are going to definitely get impacted. So if anybody is there in the automotive in this particular discussion, I think not a very good news for the automotive sector or electronic sector. And possibly to some extent retail is also getting impacted, especially the entire fashion and accessories. So let's understand the media behavior during Ramadan. Is media behavior going to be different? I mean, we did see in the last presentation that we presented 3 weeks back that people are really changing very, very fast. I think consumers are changing extremely fast in Indonesia. The entire online consumption has drastically gone up. So what are the activities that people are doing more because of COVID? So of course, everybody watching TV, more of the TV, people are staying at home. YouTube consumption has gone up. People are watching more YouTube videos. The entire social media activities has gone up. Spending time with elders have gone up. But I think the entire playing games, online learning, social media activities have really gone up. And it's going to grow further, I believe. I think it's going to become the new normal. So I think if any of you likes to invest into stocks, which I definitely do, my suggestion is to pick some of the online gaming stocks. They're definitely going to fly over the roof in the next few months. So what are the top social media activities that people have planned during Ramadan? You saw in the previous data that people are planning, they're spending a lot of time on social media, but is it only browsing? Not necessary. People are thinking of sharing. In fact, they already started sharing a lot of pictures of their family and kids with each other. People are cooking, and I think it's also a good time to flaunt if you're a good cook, which my wife does a lot. So it's a good time to possibly, share your recipes, share your pictures of food, and I think some people are spending time on TikTok also at the same time. So I believe that entire Ramadan will be all about digital connections. It's all about how you can bring people together while they might not be physically together, but how you can get that social interaction going, especially digitally when people cannot meet each other face to face so often. Now, again, very interesting question that we ask to the consumer, which we asked also in the last wave, that what are the percentage consumers which are trying new category for the first time in the last 1 month? E-learning apps, 36% people, they claim that e-learning app they have tried for the first time in the last 1 month. Online cooking app, work from home, we know that how Zoom is going up. Online grocery, movie streamings, consultation, ebooks, online fitness apps. So these are categories that people are getting in now. Traditionally, people were not utilizing these categories, but with a lot of online consumption, possibly these categories are going to grow in the future. So time for the next poll. According to you, I think a lot of people in this group are either from the research team or the marketing team or from the agencies. What, according to you, you think is the most effective channel for marketers or advertisers to use during Ramadan?
Please cast your poll. We have 40% of the audience already voted, getting to 50%. Another 30 seconds more. In the meantime, can I take this opportunity to ask you a question? So this is Ivan from Transmart. Can you predict, would consumers buy fashion and shoes during Ramadan and Eid? Will consumer spending increase for those products?
I think, yeah, if you remember the data that we just showed, whether it comes to shoes, it will go up. With fashion accessory, it will go up. But if you compare with versus last Ramadan, I think it will go down. But if you just compare with possibly a month back, you will definitely see more usage or more consumption of people might buy more shoes, and they definitely will buy some more fashion items. But I think in comparison to last Ramadan, possibly there might be a drop.
Another quick answer, then we'll close the poll. So this is Dennis asking, for those who believe in fasting, can fasting improve the immunity? Are they skewed to a certain demographic, age groups, SEC, or gender?
Dennis, good question. I need to look at the data in terms of look at that data by demographics. I'll be able to give you the answer later on.
Okay, so why don't we send that answer to Dennis at a later stage?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
So the answer for
Rohit,
the answer for the poll is, what according to you is the most effective channel for marketing? Digital is 79%, outdoor is 0, radio is 1, print is 0, and TV is 20. So it's an 80-20 in favor of digital, basically.
right.
Wow.
Thanks,
That's
Rohit. So I
amazing.
think, yeah, I didn't expect the data to be so skewed towards digital. I was expecting it to go digital, but it's 80-20 is it's amazing to look at those numbers. So I believe I think that possibly might be the future. I think digital advertising, and more importantly, understanding the ROI on digital is always been a big challenge. So I think online research, online media, online advertising is going to be the future for Indonesia. It was very much a TV skewed uh, spends in the past, though digital was emerging, but I think it is going to emerge in a big way as we move forward. So let's see how brands are responding. So interestingly, I was trying to just pull out some data of how the brands are responding and how consumers they want the brands to respond. So let's see what consumers are saying. So consumers, they want products and services which can promise them health as well as well-being. They want services which are safe to use. So I think this entire safety and health is what consumers are looking at. I know for every category, it's not easy to communicate well-being or health, but wherever you can communicate, you should. And how brands should react? The consumers, they feel the brand should be more looking at it from a not from a opportunistic perspective. Of course, as I mentioned, the last wave is very consistent. Uh, of course, all of us want to sell more, but I think consumers, they want the brands to help them, educate them, and possibly help them to get out of this particular chaos or COVID situation, especially for the next 3 or 4 months. So let's see what brands are doing. I was able to pick up some of the examples, some of the campaigns which I felt were becoming viral. So this particular campaign was from Indosat, where, of course, people are not able to meet each other, but they created a campaign where people are connecting each other digitally. And I think that very much goes back to the Ramadan. So, for example, if you're thinking of gifting, so gifting might happen digitally. People might get into a lot of online cards. They might be connected. They will be definitely connected a lot digitally. So I think anything that we can think around digital or e-commerce or possibly social commerce might be very, very powerful as a media to look at. Second, I looked at this example of VADA, which is one of the local companies. So they've created this online tool where you can try the product virtually. So you can log into the website and you can try and you can see how a particular cosmetic will look on you. When people can't touch the product, they can't go physically to the retail. This is another way some of the brands can revolutionize their way of communicating. Without touch and feel, how I can make a consumer try my product is a very, very good initiative from WADA. So we come to the last section, and I think I'm mindful of the fact that I've got another 15 minutes to go. So let's look at the opportunities ahead. So just a quick summary of what's happening on Ramadan traditions. I believe this Ramadan is going to be very, very different to last Ramadans, as we can see in the data. A lot of social interaction will be more digital interaction. People definitely will miss interacting with other people a lot, going to mosque, and there's an entire scare about catching COVID. A lot more towards health products. Fried foods possibly will go down, but people are still cooking at home. But there's the entire concept of being healthy is coming up in a big way in the last couple of months. Immunity again seems to be a big strong theme. When we look at Ramadan shopping, unfortunately, it's going to go down versus last Ramadan. At least 32% is what we're predicting. Discretionary items will definitely see the biggest cut. Middle SES will definitely is showing more cut in their spending. Spending on digital categories is going up. Some of the new categories are emerging. E-commerce is taking a big boom right now, especially for the grocery items and consumer staples. And the entire consumers are behaving, the way the digital behavior is. People are trying apps. They're getting into fitness apps, subscriptions, OTT, being on the net most of the time. The entire pulsar spend will go up, as you saw in the previous data. Sharing recipes is going to go digital, possibly not too much face-to-face, but that's what is going to happen during this entire Ramadan. So let's see what are the opportunities. We do talk about e-commerce a lot, but I think there's a new term which I think a lot of you are familiar with, which is the rise of social commerce and conversational commerce. As people are there on WhatsApp, they're on WeChat, especially in other countries outside Indonesia. Indonesia still very much is a WhatsApp communication. And as you can see that consumers in APAC are very much on using messaging apps. So connecting with them on WeChats or WhatsApp or Facebook messengers, I think, and using that channel as a channel of communicating, personalizing it, is going to be the thing of the future, in fact. So it's not about just somebody buying on an e-commerce website, but how this can become more conversational in nature. And that's why the entire chatbots are going to play a big role in that. So I believe that the rise of social commerce is a big opportunity for brands to look at. I was seeing one of the examples in one of the presentations from China where, when China got it really impacted, one of the brand which was selling offline in retail told their beauty advisors who could not meet consumers face to face. They said, they told beauty advisors to go online, which is the entire interaction started happening on WeChat. And then beauty advisors were advising consumers on the WeChat, and the entire conversation and selling, which was offline, moved into completely conversational on WeChat. Second opportunity, some of the very good data that I could pick from Gartner. This was from last recession in 2008. So this compares the data between innovators versus laggards. So companies which are innovating and which innovated, which spent a lot of money on R&D, in comparison to companies which cut down on the cost. Because when the times like this, the first thing that we think as marketers is to cut on spending. But companies which spend during this time in terms of marketing as well as innovating, post-recession and post-crisis, they show much better return on investment. They show much better return on growth because they're not just thinking about cost cutting, they're thinking of innovating, they're thinking of marketing. So companies which do that definitely outperform in the long run. My request to everybody in this particular group is, of course, we want to be cutting down costs, but I think we should not be cutting innovation. So let's think how we can innovate. It can be innovation about product, it can be innovation about supply chain, it can be innovation about multiple things. So I think use this opportunity crisis as an opportunity. And the last thing that I'll possibly mention, which is the data that I picked from AISensum, they normally work, they work with Happy Fresh for the entire understanding of the retail pickup. So this data is from Happy Fresh, where pre-COVID versus during COVID, the number of promotions have gone down, which I think is a bit surprising to me. I know that FMCG as a segment is doing well, but as you can see, the consumers are spending less and they're saving more. So possibly, I think my belief is that for some brands or for a lot of brands, they should start looking at promotions again. Might not be for the long term so that you don't hurt the equity of the brand, but look at that as a short term in case your sales is falling down. Use promotions both online or possibly offline to get some immediate boost to your sales. But again, I think we have to be mindful of the fact that if it goes too long, then it might hurt the brand equity or dilute the brand equity. But promotion is something that I think the brand should consider. Yeah, so that was the end of my presentation, Rohit.
Great, thank you for that, Rajiv. It's time for questions now. So I'm gonna bring out some of the questions that we have. We've had a lot of questions during this session, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to get some of the quick questions across to you and try and address most of them as we go along. So there's this. Let me start with the first question. And for everybody on the webinar, if you still have questions, please keep them coming. If we cannot get all the questions addressed, we'll try and get Rajiv to answer some of them and send them on your email. You will all get a copy of the presentation later on, but after this, we'll send a survey out. So there's a question from Rowley. In between age group, do you see any declines on Gen Z spends?
I think we do see some declines on the Gen Z spends. I'll possibly be able to get back with more details.
Okay.
So whoever has the person, I'll be able to send more summary as well as more detailed outputs on the spends by age groups. I think just because we didn't have enough time, so I haven't put the data by age groups there.
Okay, so this is Ayu from Daria Varia. As previously mentioned, that consumers tend to choose health product. Is there any tendency to choose natural product instead of chemical-based OTC?
It is. So I think the entire yeah. So what we have been seeing, Ayu, is that entire shift is moving towards more natural, and I think that has been the trend in the last 3-4 years, anyways, in Indonesia. So I think if we can communicate naturalness in our products, nothing like it. As you can see, people are consuming more vegetable and fruits, which again is a sign that people are moving back to the nature. And the more healthy beverages is something that people are preferring, more juices in a way. Jamu again, as you know, is considered to be natural, and that has seen a lot of big consumption in Indonesia lately.
Okay, so the next question is from Chaya Kusma. Do we know how many percentage YouTube growth during COVID period and also on Spotify? I think we did address some of this in the first webinar on the consumer sentiment webinar on the percentage growth, right, Rajiv?
Yeah, we did. In fact, even in this report, we have the data on YouTube. I think once we share the report, they will be able to see the data on YouTube. On Spotify, particularly, we haven't captured Spotify in our survey, but YouTube you will be able to see in the report.
Okay. Next question is from Ashish Verma. Natural splits may be different on mobile surveys. Please share the percentages. What's the difference between beverages and milk/beverages, and how? So those are the two questions. I think they are linked.
Sure. So Ashish, I will get back to you with the breakup on these two. So I think, and what I understand, Rohit, Ashish wants to look at the data separately between milk versus beverages as a segment. So Ashish, I'll be able to get back to the split later on. I don't have that in the presentation right now.
Okay. Sarita's question is, what about online loans? Are they increasing or decreasing during COVID? And what is the reflection as we move forward?
We haven't looked at online loans. We have seen online insurance, which is very small, but online loans as a segment we haven't captured. But online loans have slightly gone up. I have hidden that data in the report. Insurance went up by 4 or 5%, but loans we haven't captured.
Okay. So there are a couple of questions, and I'm just going to build them into themes now. So there are a couple of questions that are about what is the extent reflection of Indonesia into this survey? What is the penetration of this survey in big cities versus small cities? So there are many of these questions. So Rajiv, my question to you is, if you can just quickly give the audience an overview of what is the kind of spread that you have of participants of this survey, from how many districts and how many places, cities, etc. Quick answer.
Sure. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, these are 10 big urban cities. I'll be able to share the cities later on, but these cities are Jabotabek. They're all 10 big cities that people in the possible audience might be familiar. I can just name them. Jabotabek, Surabaya, Bandung, Samarang, Jogja, Medan. So these are some of the big cities that we have covered, but it's only a representation of urban. We haven't captured semi-urban or rural. So this in no way represents what a rural population will do or behave, or what semi-urban will do and behave. So it's completely a representation of 40 to 45 million people who are staying in the urban society. And it represents SES ABC. So SES D and E, which normally forms around 15 to 20% of the population, is not being represented in this particular data. Yeah, and age group is between 15 to 55, male, female, both of them are equally represented. So male, female, 15 to 55, SES ABC, top 10 urban cities.
Okay. In terms of the media and consumption, a couple of other questions into a thematic is, what is it that we've been able to capture in terms of the media? This is Goni and Julia asking the question. And how are we defining the possible growth of consumers consuming media, TV versus digital?
Right. So the way we have asked this, sure. So the way we have asked this question is to understand what activities people are doing, and what I have seen as a data, both TV as well as digital, both of them have been consumed. We haven't asked them the number of hours, so I cannot comment on the number of hours that they're spending. But the spend on digital overall, the time that people are spending on digital overall, I believe is more than TV. But having said, both TV and digital have gone up in comparison to normal months. And the way we have asked digital, we have broken digital down by YouTube, Instagram, social media activities, online learnings, watching OTT. That's how we have broken down the entire digital as well as online gaming. So later on in the presentation, once you receive the presentation, you will be able to see all those details.
Okay. And the last question before we try and wrap this up is about what do you mean by conversational commerce, and if you can share some more insights, because you got that out as a very big opportunity as we move forward. So if you could just spend maybe 30 seconds on conversational commerce and what you meant by that.
Sure. In fact, this is something that I attended a Facebook webinar. In fact, it's from your own webinar, Rohit, which I think was done by the Vietnam team. Yes. So see, this is, we have been talking about e-commerce for a long time, and everybody understands e-commerce a lot, but I think this entire concept of conversational commerce or a social commerce is all about interacting with the brands on multiple omni channels, be it WhatsApp, WeChat, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and the entire interaction with the brand, which was limited to possibly TV long time back, is now becoming omni channel. Now, how a brand can make those conversations, how you can use WeChat, WhatsApp, Facebook Messengers, and so many other channels that consumers are interacting with using chatbots or using possibly a human, which is a beauty advisor, as I mentioned, is a case. So that's what I mean, the entire concept of conversational commerce, which is like a two-way conversation. So it's not about I just go to the e-commerce and buy something, but there's somebody who's conversing with me, which can be a chatbot or it can be even a human through omni-channel commerce tools or omni-channel platforms.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Rajiv, today. It was really helpful. We've got some other questions with regard to the presentation. Some of people have not received it in the past who attended, etc. So what we'll do is, if you have any questions, if you want any presentation, you can log on to mmagglobal.com/webinars, and you can actually download those presentations that you have, not just the presentations that you've seen in the last week, 10 days, but there are more than 100 odd webinars, so you can do that. And if you still have challenges, please send us a mail at APAC at mmagglobal.com. That is APAC at mmagglobal.com. And this is the list of the upcoming webinars. We have two more this week. One is a Vietnamese only webinar, and one is a Asia Pacific webinar, Navigating the Shift in Consumer, followed by some of the business navigation research that we've done and the industry sentiment. and MarTech webinar on 21st. We will have more added to this, but this is a quick list so you guys can plan for next week. Again, just to summarize, MMA programs are working to make sure that we are able to contribute to the industry. We do firmly believe that the programs and all the task forces that we are working on in the respective areas as they are evident on your screen will only help solidify the industry as we move forward. And if you would like to converse and join our conversation, participate with us, there are various ways that you can. You can actually sign up for our newsletter, sign up for our LinkedIn group, engage with us on social media. There's a lot of inspirational stuff that's lying there on our case study hub and reports on the research and surveys that we've done over the last few years. And we believe all of them are very valuable. With that, I would like to thank all of you for participating and engaging with us. Some of the questions that were not answered, we'll try and answer them. We'll get Rajiv to answer some of them. And we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar, hopefully this week on the 29th for the Vietnam and the Asia Pacific one. Thank you once again. Have a good rest of the day and stay home and stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Rohit. Thank you.